The Belgian Grand Prix was a bit of an anticlimax. For the whole week, we were looking ahead to a wet race, but the FIA seemed to have done everything within their power to prevent any running on a wet track on Sunday. The race start at 3 p.m. local time was interrupted by a red flag, and it eventually took an hour and a half to go racing. Did the FIA do the right thing here, or were there other options? In today's GPFans Special, we're diving into autosport's governing body's decision-making at Spa-Francorchamps. Most F1 fans froth at the mouth at the idea of a wet weather race. It's where legends are made, where the most spectacular drives take place. In the last few seasons, however, we've been seeing fewer of them, and this has a few reasons. First of all, Pirelli's full wet tires overheat very quickly, even in the rain, and teams do everything they can to avoid using that compound. That means that only the intermediates are left, but those can't be used in too heavy rain. Inters can deal with 30 liters of water per second, whereas the full wets can handle 65, but they are borderline unusable, according to the teams. Besides that, the FIA haven't forgotten about the deadly incidents there have been in recent times. In 2019, Antoine Hubert lost his life at Spa-Francorchamps in Formula 2 when he lost control of his car coming over the hill at Raidillon. The accident happened when the track was dry, but the FIA have become more vigilant and cautious since then, which is absolutely a good thing. In 2023, there was more bad news, as 18-year-old Delano van 't Hof also lost his life at Spa-Francorchamps. This accident did happen during a wet race and was caused by poor visibility on the Camel Straight. Of course, the FIA don't want to ban wet weather racing, but they always look at two factors to determine whether a Grand Prix can go ahead. First, there is visibility, and second, they look at how much standing water there is on the track, as this could cause aquaplaning, which is extremely dangerous when going at high speeds. At exactly 3 p.m., the formation lap started in Belgium, but at the end of the lap, everyone dived back into the pit lane. The FIA said it listened to driver feedback and acted accordingly. Quote, almost all drivers said visibility was still too poor to race at that point. Only one driver was willing to go racing immediately, Max Verstappen. The Dutchman voiced his opinion over the radio that a couple of laps behind the safety car would have been enough to clear most of the standing water on track. But based on the feedback of the majority of the drivers, a red flag was shown. The FIA listened to the drivers then, and while that is very important, there are also different agendas to take into account. Some drivers had their cars set up for a wet race on Sunday, like Max Verstappen, Fernando Alonso, and Lewis Hamilton. Other drivers had their cars ready for dry running, so for them, the later the race would start, the better. Setting a car up for wet weather often means that the ride height is increased. Engines also get tuned to deliver power more smoothly to prevent wheel spin, and a lot more wing is put on the car to increase downforce, as straight line speed is way less important when running in the wet. This explains why Max Verstappen, for example, couldn't get past Charles Leclerc, or why Lewis Hamilton couldn't overtake for the back half of the Grand Prix. They were simply missing top speed. The drivers' opinions were split then over how the FIA handled things. Carlos Sainz was happy with how it went, stating that Spa's history calls for extra caution. Oscar Piastri found visibility way too low, saying he couldn't even see pole sitter Lando Norris in front of him and that it would only be worse for drivers behind him. Lewis Hamilton, on the other hand, was on Verstappen's side, adding that a rolling start didn't make any sense either. George Russell, who is also the director of the GPDA, the Grand Prix Drivers Association, claimed it would just be stupid to race when visibility is as low as it was on Sunday. Quote, as a racer, you always want to get going. You love driving in the rain. But the fact is, when you're doing over 200 miles an hour out of Eau Rouge, you literally cannot see anything. You may as well have a blindfold on. It isn't racing, it's just stupidity. The FIA clearly have opted to play things safe, but did take the intrigue out of the Belgian Grand Prix that way. So, what do you think? Were they overly cautious, or is it a case of better safe than sorry? Let us know in the comments down below, but that's been it for this week's GPFans Special. I thank you for watching it, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace.